Now, over to Channel 9 for some summer viewing.
Our beachfront dreamers want crashing waves and salty sea air. So grab your sunscreen and join us on the hunt for the ultimate beach house.
Find My Beach House is quintessential commercial TV, with host Shelley Craft guiding cashed-up couples on the hunt for the perfect beachside getaway, like Lockie and Tonya, who are scouring Victoria's spectacular Mornington Peninsula with $4 to $5 million in their purse.
This is kind of the perfect time to head down to the coast and stay there.
And there's, beautiful golf courses and wineries.
So, can Shelley help them find their dream home?
This house sets the bar really high. When we walked into the house, it was stunning. Like, you're not going to see a duplicate of this.
Spectacular. And house number 2?
It's not giving me... Obviously, you went straight to the top at house 1. So now I'm like, very picky.
Totally agree, Lockie. House number 2, rubbish. But might they fall in love with house number 3?
I love that whole kitchen, dining, living.
I feel like I'm on a holiday.
Yeah.
So, don't keep us hanging.
Have you made a decision?
Oh, we've lost a lot of sleep over this.
For us right now, house number 3 feels like it is the one.
Lockie and Tonya have successfully bought the house and are now savouring every moment of their new beach life.
Praise be. Success. They got the very house they wanted, which we've discovered was no fluke because, are you sitting down? It was their home all along. No, I'm not joking. Tonya and Lockie had bought the land 8 years ago and put up the house themselves, documenting their every step on Instagram. Here's Tonya posting the house designs back in 2022. And here they are, choosing just the right stone for their new kitchen benchtop. Now, let's watch as our happy couple visit their own kitchen, apparently for the first time.
Wow.
That is a serious stone. Okay.
It's something else, isn't it?
While they're inspecting the upstairs bedroom, Lockie and Tonya have a very serious chat about their budget. I mean, can they even afford it?
What do you think price-wise? What do you reckon?
Brand new, closer to the water, but it doesn't have the size block. Can you make a call first? I don't want to say anything wrong.
I'm going to say 4, around 4.
Hollywood, eat your heart out. In fact, days after the show was broadcast, Tonya and Lockie put the house on the market, asking price $3.8 to $4.15 million. Can't buy advertising like that. One of their neighbours wasn't amused, telling us,
"My wife and I were gobsmacked to watch the host of the show and the supposed potential buyers play acting their way through the show. What a surprise. They made a successful offer on a house they designed, built and already owned. Any credibility they and the show may have is in pieces on the Italian marble floor."
Here at Media Watch, we had a chuckle when we worked all this out. You know, a fun little scoop. But surely it's just a one-off.
Oh, wow. The view is just beautiful.
It's quite phenomenal, actually, isn't it?
Just around the corner, in fact, from Tonya and Lockie, Christy was doing her own bit of acting too.
Oh, wow. This is a big room.
This is massive.
Yeah. We'd have to find a bit of furniture for it.
Yes, Find My Beach House pulling another Swiftie. And what do you know? Yet again, a happy outcome.
We've actually put in an offer on one of the houses.
Have you?
We have.
As you've no doubt guessed, Christy, or her husband at least, already owned the house. He'd bought it months earlier. And what a stroke of fortune that TV show was, because her dream home is now a $4,000 a week Airbnb, which until our little intervention was being advertised like this. Handy little earner. Find My Beach House is produced by Abode Entertainment, which has a diverse array of quality programming, including Find My Country House, House Hunt Dilemma, and my personal favourite, Luxury Property Wars. We asked one former Find My Beach House producer how many case studies he knew to be faked.
I honestly don't know. Half-half is probably right, but all house hunting shows it's the only way we can get it done.
What a lark. This is how Abode Entertainment CEO Gary Tackle explained why he was misleading viewers.
To enhance storytelling and ensure a satisfying viewing experience, we sometimes reverse engineer the house hunting process. This means the buyers have already purchased their home before filming, and we then showcase additional properties to capture their reactions and insights authentically.
Reverse engineering authentic insights. That's the way, Gary. Although, after mulling things over, he's decided just a touch more transparency might be called for.
Moving forward, we are making the change to include a disclaimer on each episode.
We asked Shelley Craft, Tonya and Lockie and Christy for a response, but none of them chose to reply. So, was Channel 9 in on the gag too? It declined to say and passed the buck to production company Abode. But since our phone call, 9 has scrubbed the series from its website. Yes, we know these shows aren't trying to be four corners, but talk about selling your audience and advertisers down the river.
Donald Trump has stunned the world, threatening to invade Gaza and drive its citizens out at gunpoint if needed.
The U.S. will take over the Gaza Strip, and we will do a job with it too. We'll own it.
Hello, I'm Linton Besser. Welcome to Media Watch, which, like you, has been watching the Donald Trump circus in disbelief as he announced last week a potential US takeover of the Gaza Strip to refashion it the Riviera of the Middle East.
Experts say the plan could constitute a war crime, trigger a humanitarian catastrophe, a wave of international insurgency and terrorism, and even possibly start a new Middle East war.
Trump dropped this little grenade on the assembled media with practically no detail at all, leaving them scrambling for answers live on air.
Is this real?
Who came up with this plan and when did they come up with it?
He said that world people will live in Gaza, including Palestinians and anyone else, I suppose.
Some of the folks over on America's Fox News found it all a bit of a laugh.
The MAGA Strip. The MAGA in the Mediterranean.
So will we call it Mara Gaza or Gaza Lago?
Sweetly absent from these jokes, the horror and carnage implicit in the proposal. But then again, the media has had trouble deciphering a US president so inclined to wild, ill-conceived plans. This one walked back by his administration in fewer than 24 hours. This is nothing new. It was only 7 years ago that Trump came up with the same solution to resolve tensions on the Korean peninsula.
They have great beaches. You see that whenever they're exploding their cannons into the ocean, right? So I said, boy, look at that beach. Wouldn't that make a great condo?
Spoiler, it went nowhere. Despite how it might feel, not all of this is spontaneous. In fact, some of it is very deliberate, as Sky's US correspondent pointed out.
This is how Donald Trump does it. He resets the negotiating parameters to suit himself. He wants everyone to be unsure of what he's going to say next.
Since taking office this time around, Trump has pledged to take back the Panama Canal, buy Greenland from Denmark, and turn Canada into the 51st US state. He's also unilaterally renamed the Gulf of Mexico. So what's really going on? Trump conciliary and now convicted criminal Steve Bannon previously explained it to PBS.
All we have to do is flood the zone. Every day we hit them with three things. They'll bite on one and we'll get all of our stuff done. Bang, bang, bang.
Which is why journalists and their editors must find the nous and the courage to concentrate not on the commandeering of Canada, nor the building of golf courses in Gaza, but on the real and radical changes being wrought at the same time, like an attempt to sack America's elections integrity overseer and the dismantling of the United States' storied foreign aid program, previously the world's largest single donor. Because while Trump Inc. is distracting the world with its orchestrated chaos, it's also trying to reshape it in ways that do really matter. Now, the slow-moving train wreck that has derailed the ABC and much of its top brass.
The ABC says complaints from the so-called pro-Israel lobby had no influence on their decision to take journalist Antoinette Lattouf off air. Ms Lattouf is suing the ABC for unlawful dismissal.
The sacking of fill-in radio presenter Antoinette Lattouf back in 2023 has become one of the worst self-inflicted wounds at the ABC in recent memory. And at the heart of the controversy is the ABC's ever acute desperation to, yes, avoid controversy.
Mr. Anderson, have these proceedings damaged trust in the ABC?
3 days into her week-long shift in December 23, Antoinette Lattouf was stood down after posting a Human Rights Watch report which alleged Israel was using starvation as a weapon of war. She was told the post breached ABC policy, leaving Lattouf confused. After all, the ABC itself had published the very same allegations. Her removal is now the subject of an ongoing federal court hearing, with more to come. But the evidence thus far has revealed an extraordinary 72 hours inside a public broadcaster seemingly so spooked by a barrage of complaints, its chairwoman went searching for any excuse to have Lattouf removed.
Why can't she come down with flu or COVID or a stomach upset?
Many of the complaints, coordinated by pro-Israel advocates, claimed Antoinette Lattouf's social media history, expressing anger at Israel's military campaign, rendered her unsuitable as an ABC radio presenter and began piling in from the very first day she was on air. In a conversation that first day, the ABC claims Lattouf was told not to post anything controversial about the Gaza conflict. Lattouf remembers differently that she agreed to restrict herself only to information from reputable sources. What's clear, however, is that Lattouf was not covering the war on her show. Despite this, ABC chair Ita Buttrose, apparently sick of receiving complaints, wanted something done and sent multiple emails to Managing Director David Anderson and Chief Content Officer Chris Oliver-Taylor, including this on the night of Lattouf's second show.
Has Antoinette been replaced? I am over getting emails about her.
When David Anderson told Buttrose the presenter would remain in place until Friday, Ita was not pleased. And between wrapping Christmas presents at 10 p.m. at night, she fired off the notorious COVID email, which also said,
I have a whole clutch more of complaints. We owe her nothing. We should be in damage control.
The next day, Anderson assured her, we are absolutely in damage control, and he also pushed back.
If we do remove her, there will be claims of doing so without cause. We have caved to pro-Israeli lobbying, and she hasn't actually breached impartiality.
Internally, cooler heads had been urging caution. The acting editorial director, Simon Melkman, warned,
I don't believe there's any justification for pulling her off air.
That evening, the head of the content division, Chris Oliver-Taylor, agreed removing Lattouf was a bad idea.
The blowback will be phenomenal.
Prescient, no? By this point, the ABC's leadership team was on a hair trigger, and it seems obvious to us the mere whiff of any further controversy would have seen Lattouf brought down. Then an email arrived from The Australian.
Is the ABC investigating Lattouf's conduct, including her social media use relating to commentary she has made about the Israel-Gaza war?
Soon after, the ABC spotted the Human Rights Watch post on Lattouf's Instagram account, and Chris Oliver-Taylor, believing she had contravened a direct order, began calling and texting his boss, David Anderson, to raise the alarm.
I have no option but to stand her down.
David Anderson wasn't responding because he was out at lunch with none other than Ita Buttrose, who had, against Anderson's wishes, been bombarding Oliver-Taylor with the Lattouf complaints and piling on the pressure. So, having heard nothing from the boss, Oliver-Taylor made the critical decision to pull the trigger.
The Australian are going to run a yarn. I'm going to action this now and try and beat the story.
Still at the restaurant, Anderson finally telephoned his content director.
Are you sure?
Yes. We've got no choice.
OK.
David Anderson did nothing to check the Instagram post himself, nor to ask for more time before Oliver-Taylor brought down the hammer. When he hung up the phone, he gave Ita the Christmas present she'd been longing for. Lattouf was gone. In the ABC's haste, it didn't give her a chance to defend herself, a point admitted by Anderson last week.
The ABC's managing director says he believed there was potentially a step missing when journalist Antoinette Lattouf was taken off air. The missing step could have included a discussion with Ms Lattouf.
What's now clear is the ABC's first misstep occurred long before she walked into a studio, because no one at the ABC had bothered to thoroughly consider her social media feed. And since the Hamas attack on Israel, she'd taken a clear and unequivocal position in favour of the Palestinian people.
You can and should condemn illegal military occupation of Palestine. That's been happening for 75 years.
But having made the decision to hire her, the ABC then owed Antoinette Lattouf a fair go. Instead, it hung her out to dry. Both Buttrose and Anderson have denied that outside pressure played any role in these tawdry events, and we will hear from Ita Buttrose this week. But the evidence to date casts a long shadow over those denials. The ABC may yet win the case, but if so, it will be a hollow victory. So far, it seems clear to us that all it took for the organisation to abandon its most basic obligations to one of its on-air presenters was a 3-day email campaign and a single inquiry from the Australian newspaper. You'd forgive the thousands of other ABC staffers across the country for looking over their shoulder from here on in. And that's all from us tonight. Be sure to check us out on iView as well as YouTube, X and Facebook. You can find full statements on our website, and don't forget to send us your tips. See you next week.